Hello, this is Bill Steffen. Thanks for joining me today. We've made it to the middle of April already, and it has certainly been a windy month. And we have another windy day ahead for us with some gusts perhaps approaching 30 to 35 miles an hour. Let's take a look right now at our 72-hour precipitation map. This covers the entire country, and you can see the areas that we'll be seeing precipitation. Rain or snow is precipitation, anything that falls from the sky. And you can see there's some rain and snow in the mountains of California, so they continue to get water in the reservoirs. It should be an easy summer for them to get through with the water in the reservoirs that they have. Kind of a rainy day across much of New England, and look at the snow that's going to be falling across much of the country here. Glacier National Park could see half a foot of snow. Down into Yellowstone, it'll be snowing. In the east area of Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, the possibility of some snow. That's because we have some pretty cold air over us. Let's zoom into Michigan a little bit here and show you what we have in store for us here. Take a look at this. Anywhere that's yellow indicates 6 inches of snow, and the orange color indicates at least 8 inches of snow. It's mid-April, and like I have said many times, it's like somebody had a snow magnet up there in upper Michigan, and the storm systems and the lake effect just seems to pile up there. Let's take a look at some of the snow that they are going to be getting here. First of all, winter storm warning in effect for the western third of the UP. It's a winter weather advisory in the purple color for much of the rest of upper Michigan here. And there's even some counties in the lower peninsula that are involved in this as well. By the way, across the UP, anywhere from 2 to 10 inches of new snow will fall, plus drifting, gusts of 40 miles an hour. I mean, they may get some schools closed up there in mid-April. Now we'll take a look at northern lower Michigan. And these are not the counties that have the ice storm damage. That's farther to the east. And by the way, Montmorency County finally got half of their power turned on in the county today after, I think it's 18 days. They were at 49%, and they should go pretty quickly. They've had to replace over 1,470 poles they were up to. They normally replace 500 a year, so that about 3 years worth of that comes in. And of course, with other areas of the country seeing severe weather and flooding, they've had a little bit more difficult time getting other crews from different states and different areas to help them out. So really, a lot of folks still without power. We were still at around 7,000 homes. But in northern lower Michigan, about 1 to 4 inches of new snow is expected. Here's how much snow there is still on the ground. And many of these areas have had snow on the ground continuously since the end of November, since about November 25th, I think was the first storm that they got up there. And look at that, they still got 2.5 feet of snow on the ground as of the morning. That's 11 miles south of Munising in the woods. Painesdale, they were at 21, Three Lakes at 22. Herman is west of Marquette, a little higher elevation there. They have 15 inches of snow on the ground. They have measured snow at Herman as long as I have been here. They've had a couple of different people do that, and we appreciate that. Marquette, that's at the airport. There's not as much snow in town. And Sault Ste. Marie, finally below 6 inches of snow on the ground. They have had 203 inches of snow this winter at Sault Ste. Marie, and that's almost double their average for the winter. So that's pretty interesting. Well, here's Michelle to tell you all about our sponsors.
And there is a lot going on in the spring with pollen and pet hair. And what can help is having your home or your office professionally cleaned. So we'd like to thank our sponsor, Complete Care Concierge LLC. They are a cleaning service serving all of West Michigan, doing residential and commercial cleans. They can clean your home, your apartment, your condo. They can clean your business. They've got all the latest products and materials. They can clean once. They can clean on a repeated basis. Whatever your cleaning needs are, they can provide a personal service that is exactly what you need. And they serve all of West Michigan, so you can find them wherever you need them. And you can call them at 616-264-1397, 616-264-1397, and see how they can help you. And thanks for being a Bill Steffen sponsor.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Well, this is interesting. A chance of a severe thunderstorm here during the day on Friday. This is an outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. It has an elongated area from Texas all the way up to southern lower Michigan. What they say is, while the deep cyclone over the Kansas vicinity will weaken, it should move towards the central Great Lakes from along and ahead of its track to the trailing cold front arcing southwestward into West Texas. Extensive thunderstorm development is anticipated Friday afternoon and evening. Given the strong mid-level flow regime, scattered severe storms are possible along an elongated corridor. So we'll have to watch out for that. This is a level 2 risk at the moment. We're still, 4 days out? So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we'll refine this as time goes on, but there's certainly the chance that across southern Michigan, adjacent areas of northwest Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois could be seeing some pretty hefty thunderstorm activity here Friday. And that will usher in a cool front that will turn temperatures a bit cooler again for Easter weekend. Well, let's take a look at our headlines. Colder and breezy today. We've had so many windy days here, but that will continue. Sunshine on Wednesday. There'll be a chance of showers Thursday night. Probably a pretty good bet for some showers Thursday night. And there'll be a chance for a storm again here Friday afternoon or Friday evening. Taking a look right now at today's forecast, average high temperature today in the upper 50s. We're only going to be about 45 this afternoon, so that's kind of a cool day. And it will be a windy day. There is a pretty good bet that we'll see a band of showers come through here during the early morning. There could be a little bit of wet snow mixed in. The computer's only forecasting about, tenth of an inch of snow for Big Rapids, but once you get up past Cadillac, it's forecasting about 1 to 2 inches of snow accumulating very briefly on the grassy areas. Roads could get just a touch slushy for a brief time, but for the most part, the snow is going to melt on the area roads. Humidity dries out a little bit in the afternoon, down to about 60%, and winds west to northwest at 20 to 25 miles an hour. So it's going to be yet another of these spring windy days. We'll take a look at the 3-day forecast here. Once again, we're going to be seeing that rain or snow early in the day. Chance of a shower during the afternoon. We're only in the low to mid 40s here this afternoon, so a pretty chilly day. Wednesday will be a beautiful day, a touch cooler than average, but with sunshine, and the winds won't be as light as they were on Sunday, but it should be a pretty good day here. Temperatures should be up into the low 50s during the afternoon, though it'll be a touch cooler near the lake. Thursday, sun in the morning, increasing clouds by late in the day, and rain developing again here for Thursday night. Taking a look at high temperatures, today a chilly day, especially as you head north, as you get up toward the Gaylord area. It's only going to be in the 30s up there with a chance of snow. And there'll be some snow along the Lake Superior shoreline where temperatures will be at or even a little bit below freezing for a portion of the day. Wednesday, things start to improve as we get that green color going again, and that's temperatures in the 50s. The cool air starts to retreat, though it will be a bit cooler near the lake. And again, along the Lake Superior shoreline, especially. There's gale warnings, by the way, out for tonight, tomorrow in the Lake Superior area. Let's take a look right now at temperatures for Thursday, and we're starting to get that yellow color. That's temperatures in the 60s. So I think Thursday we should be back up into the low to mid 60s during the afternoon. And then Friday, we could see temperatures here getting up close to 70s. 72 is what I got out here for Friday. We'll take a look at that Friday forecast, and a windy day today, maybe a shower in the morning, could be a little bit of wet snow mixed in as you go north. Travel a little tougher there in the UP where that winter weather advisory is in effect. Wednesday, nice day, 52 and sunny, 62, cool in the morning at 30, but 62 in the afternoon. Warmest day is Friday, low 70s, could be mid 70s at the lake at the Indiana border, and a good bet for a scattered shower or thunderstorm. Saturday could be a lingering shower in the early morning. I decided not to put the raindrops in there. We'll see if we can get away with a dry day. There could be a little sunshine late in the day, but it'll still be fairly cloudy in the morning. Easter Sunday, we don't have that in the 5-day forecast yet. We will tomorrow. That should be, I'm hoping, partly sunny. It may turn out to be mostly cloudy, and temperatures probably again in the mid-upper 50s here. Taking a look at the long-range outlook, once again, we have warm in the east and cool in the west, especially the Pacific Northwest. But we're going to go through a warmer period here with several days, at least in the 70s here especially for the early part, April 22 to 25, look mild. And then temperatures will turn a little cooler. Don't see any big storms coming our way at this point. Storm systems, like I said, I think with this pattern, we certainly will be seeing some rain. Next picture shows you the rainfall outlook. And again, we have that green color here with moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico and feeding up along the edge of this warm air bubble here. So plan on a couple of rounds of thunderstorms during that period, and temperatures just a touch warmer than average. Well, take a look at this. Michelle, are you going to be joining us, or is a cat going to be joining us?
Yes, I'm joining you. And putting the show together, it was kind of a bummer because there's not a lot of positive things that happened on April 15 in history.
That's something interesting here in 1911.
Yes, there's lots of bummer things. So I started with the positive things that I could find that happened. So the Detroit Tigers and the Chicago White Sox had a game in a blizzard, and the seasons weren't as long back then, and they started later to avoid the exact situation that happened this time. It was only the third game of the year, and it got so bad that you literally couldn't see the pitcher from home plate. So they eventually called the game near the end of it, and the Tigers were up 2-0, but it was the blizzard game of April 15, 1911.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. There are, I mean, it's cold during the early part of the season here. I mean, they want to start the season in March.
Yeah. And somebody got on base because they got a hit and no one could find the ball.
Isn't that interesting? That's like the Blizzard Bowl between Michigan and Ohio State that we had in 1950. They didn't lose the ball, but somebody said I was supposed to go block the middle linebacker and I couldn't find him. Pretty crazy. This is interesting. I was listening to the Tigers game before I had to come down and do some work downstairs. That I don't know how that game wound up, but the Tigers were ahead 9-0, and the pitcher was throwing a no-hitter at the time. So Tigers are having a good year. I think they're 10-6, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. So they're doing pretty well.
By comparison, what year was Grandma born?
1919.
Okay.
And my father was born in 1913 in Chicago. So that's interesting. And he could walk to Wrigley Field at the time.
And another positive thing, Jackie Robinson, April 15, 1947, became the first African-American to play Major League Baseball in the American or National League in the modern era.
Yes, and he was a really good guy, too. I mean, he knew what was facing him, and he knew that there was going to be a better world ahead as we moved ahead with this. But he played for Baltimore, I believe, and was it Connie Mack that brought him in? Maybe. Might have been Connie Mack, the GM, that brought him in. And, of course, at the time, we were just post World War II, so everybody was coming back from the European theater and everything. And
won pennants with the Dodgers, right?
Pardon me?
Won pennants with the Dodgers, right? They had a really successful run.
That's what his uniform there is. There's that a bee on his hat on the hat.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if they were Brooklyn, right? Brooklyn Dodgers?
Brooklyn Dodgers, yes. Yeah. They weren't out west yet. Very cool. Okay.
So now all the downer stuff, and the Titanic sunk. It was struck by an iceberg the night before and sunk into the Atlantic.
Mm-hmm. And fortunately, there were some survivors from that, but like I said, a tragedy. It was an amazing ship, and I don't know that the iceberg was quite as big as what it is there in that picture, but a real tragedy. And it took time in 1912 to get the word out to everybody what had happened.
And I was reading that at the time they had only configured the lifeboats to transport people to another boat, not necessarily to hold everyone indefinitely. So then when all the other ships were so far away, then that created a problem because there just wasn't enough room for everyone to go. And then the process for getting people into the boats was not efficient or correct.
Well, and you always have the problem of hypothermia, people getting, too cold and wet at the time. And you can get splashed by the waves. It's just a real tragedy that occurred.
And Abraham Lincoln died on April 15 after being shot the night before while attending a play.
Boy, you're full of good news today, aren't you?
I know. And I even skipped some. It's not even all in here.
Oh,
Okay, so here we go. The 16th Amendment gives Congress the power to do what?
watch YouTube.
And think about what day it is. Besides
April
my
15th,
late
collect
yes,
income taxes. Of
besides
course.
it's also my late grandmother's birthday. So, there's a good thing. Or my late grandmother-in-law's birthday. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
16th,
April
yes.
15. Yeah, income
Yes.
tax.
It's
Yeah.
income tax day.
Was that supposed to be temporary, or was that permanent at the time? I think it was only 2%, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. I know the date changed. It started off March 15 and then they moved it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
You got
started
about
in
13
1913. So
years.
only
The
6
year
years
my
before
father
Grandpa was
was born.
Yeah. And then, yeah, they moved it to April 15 in 1954 when there
Hmm.
was quite a bit of legislation updating it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This sacred building sustained significant damage in a fire on April 15, 2019. Its English translation means Our Lady.
Yeah, and that is the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris, which had a devastating fire, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know that I've heard a whole lot about this, but I think that was caused by construction workers, perhaps.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing that I know about it is that it was really old wood, so
Mm-hmm.
very susceptible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were actually there. We took the kids.
Oh,
Goodness,
okay.
maybe
Have you
about
been
15 years
inside?
ago now. Yep, we climbed up it, did the tour.
Now you've seen a lot of churches, right? You've toured Europe and everything. You've gone to a lot of places. Is there any church that really stands out to you? The
Oh,
architecture?
they're all so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I could never get tired of that. And it's really a great way to tour because it's history and culture and it's beautiful
Mm-hmm.
and you can make a donation. So yeah, visiting cathedrals when I travel is one of my favorite things.
Is there an admission, or is it just free will giving?
Most of them will let you go in to pray for free, and then a lot
Mm-hmm.
of them offer tours as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
We,
it just
we
depends.
went in what, St. Paul's in London?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the ones with crypts at the bottom are really cool.
yes,
So much history.
there's
Yeah,
famous people buried beneath the cathedral.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then I was in Washington, D.C. when I came up to see you last month. I had a flight cancellation, so I was there for some extra time. And it was my first time there on a weekday. And the yellow church next to the White House was open.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a place marked off where Abraham Lincoln's seat was. And he would come in and leave before the end of the service to not disrupt anybody.
Yeah.
And yeah.
He stood out. I mean, he was 6'4". There weren't a lot of people that were 6'4" back then. And when he put on that top hat, the top of that hat was 8 feet tall. You know, the guy wanted to be noticed.
I wonder why people wore top hats. That's something to look up.
Mm.
Okay, and weather. On April 15, 2011, there was another tornado outbreak, this time in Alabama and Mississippi, 178 tornadoes in 3 days. And as we've talked about many times, we have better monitoring systems in recent years that really help us identify the tornadoes that aren't as strong.
Mm-hmm.
And some tornadoes were long lasting in this storm system, and one traveled 24 and a half miles and another 23 miles.
Mm-hmm. There's this, when you think of Tornado Alley, you think of the area from North Texas up into Nebraska and western Iowa. But there is a second tornado alley that runs through central Mississippi up into central and northern Alabama. And that area sees some pretty significant tornadoes that was hit pretty hard during the, April 11, 2011. In fact, there was a pretty strong tornado in Birmingham that day.
Mm-hmm.
But the area from the time from late winter into late spring is the area when they get the most tornadoes down here in the southern U.S.
So that isn't even all the bad stuff that happened on April 15, but that is a lot of it. So I had to think of a positive note to end on. So Bill, what is something that you got for Christmas as a child that was special to you?
Oh, obviously, the first thing that came to mind was my first weather station. My dad got it for me, and it was a Christmas present, and it cost $10. It was made out of plastic. It was a Lionel weather station made by the same people that make the Lionel trains. And it had a plastic rain gauge that you could read. It had a little plastic arm that would kind of move as the wind hit it, and it had a scale on it. It had a thermometer with it. That was the old mercury thermometers, with mercury inside of it. And the first severe thunderstorm knocked it down and broke it.
Oh no. I bet you were so sad.
I know, but I don't know whether I still have it, but I took weather records there every morning before school. And
Were
so
you part
there's
of the generation that played with mercury in school?
oh yeah, yeah. We used to just, used to play with it in your hands and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So that it's just yeah, all that stuff back then. I mean, we didn't have seat belts in cars, and we didn't have helmets to wear when you rode your bicycle. My brother took quite a tumble on a bicycle and wound up in the hospital for like 3 or 4 days. He had a 4-inch skull fracture.
Yeah,
You know,
what? How
yeah,
old was he?
he was a kid because I went to stay at Patty Deeden's house. Patty was I don't know, they used to call them tomboys back then. She was a girl, but she was really good at sports. And so my mother and her mother were friends, and so they put me up for a couple of days while my mom and dad sat in the hospital with Dave.
That's terrible.
Yes, and
Oh,
and
sorry,
what
Uncle
happened
Dave.
was is he came to a hedge, and a dog came out from behind the hedge, and he just hit the dog and went over the handlebars.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was my brother Dave.
Did he have surgery?
No, no, but they were typically worried with a head injury about the pressure on the head and everything. So
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm glad
eventually
that he's
came
okay.
home, had a concussion, and had to
Yeah.
rest for a while, and you know we we got through that episode. But yeah, I mean we didn't have bicycle helmets back then.
Well, every year for Christmas and my birthday, I got a Care Bear.
Hmm.
And that was it. No more thought had to go into my gift planning. So as you all saw on the Man Cave shows, all the Care Bears, yeah, those were for me.
Yeah, and that was really fun. We had a lot of people react to that. I remember the time Mom had the Care Bears at a campfire, and we got little sticks from out in the backyard and put these little mini marshmallows on them. And she crumpled up some orange tissue paper for the fire, and we actually had a fan going on it so that the fire would move a little bit here. I thought it was pretty cool.
Mm. I still have them. If you were born in the 80s, you love Care Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I think they're still around. Was it
Hmm.
Procter and Gamble that made the Care Bears? I'm trying to think.
I just know those characters from Cleveland,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
don't know who owns them.
Procter and Gamble is Cincinnati, so it's Ohio where that comes from. But interesting, yeah. And then I got a thermometer tie clip, which I still have, and all it says on it is real fine print was made in USA, and it's an actual thermometer tie clip. And people aren't wearing ties as much as they used to. I must have 300 ties. Does anybody want a tie? I can give you a tie. Okay? But yeah, and I like dressing up once in a while. For years I worked in the church nursery, so I didn't wear a suit. Obviously, when you're going to work in the church nursery, you just wear jeans and something that's presentable but rather old. And I got some novelty ties. I got one for Halloween. I've got 4 or 5 for Christmas.
Oh, yeah, it's Holy Week. Happy Fig Tuesday, everybody.
Yes, that's coming up here Sunday. Here's a couple of pictures that I took today at the Alpine Athletic Field. There are signs of spring on the left side. I saw the first real baseball game going on. There were some boys out there practicing today and having a great time. You can see the garbage bins were blown down by the wind. Normally it takes a gust to about 40 miles an hour to blow down a garbage bin like that at the athletic field. They're kind of chained down, but they can still get pushed down to the ground level there. And then on the right side, you have the blossoms the buds on the maple trees that are coming out there. So that looks kind of a pretty red. Pickleball courts, the nets are up now at Alpine Athletic Field. If anybody wants to come down there and check it out, it's free to play pickleball, of course. And 3 out of 4 of the courts were in use this evening. As I went by, there were at least 15 cars in the lot. The main parking lot is open again now. There were people walking. There were people walking dogs. There were people practicing soccer. There were kids on the playground. Everyone was having a great time and enjoying spring. So neat. Well, it is time to wrap things up here. I want to thank you so much for staying with us here till the end. I hope you have yourself an awesome day. And once again, for those of you, happy Easter, happy Passover.